Andy, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, I'm really excited about the book and I would love to know more. So how is the process going?
Well, firstly, thanks again for inviting me along. Yeah, the book's going well. The publishing company, Big Sky Publishing, which incidentally is based up your way in Brisbane, they'd been closed down over Christmas, so they've just got back up and running. And they're currently in the process of doing a sort of a high-level review of the book, of the manuscript. In other words, they're just correcting my spelling mistakes and making sure everything runs well. When that's done, they're going to go ahead, and when the final proof's been approved, they're going to start printing. But at this stage, we're looking at a book release date sometime in August. I think they're doing it for Father's Day. I would assume. So that's where the physical side of the book is. It's moving along quite nicely, and they appear to be happy with the progress. So it's nothing I know anything about, so I'm happy to go with the flow on that.
Yeah.
They're the experts.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And do you know yet where we'll be able to buy the book? Will it be online or?
Yes, it will be. It will be online. It will be, I think, it's distributed through Simon & Schuster, which are a very recognised distribution company. And it will be available in most of the normal larger bookshops. It will also be available online, and I think through, at this stage, Booktopia.
Oh, yeah.
So you can buy the Audible books, which is obviously good for people like myself that can't see. Or indeed for a lot of investigators and surveillance operators who spend hours sitting alone in the car. You can just put it on and listen to it while you're observing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I read most of my books, in inverted commas, sitting on surveillance, listening to an audiobook. And will you be doing any book signings for the launch?
Well, yeah, look, it's early stages, but they're going to line up a few book signings. I would imagine it'll be in Melbourne, Sydney, and possibly Brisbane, but that's still got to be confirmed. But they're still talking about doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so at this stage, it's just been muted, but not decided upon. But I think that's definitely in their plans.
Fantastic. And which authors influenced you? For example, like Alistair MacLean, Jack Higgins, Len Deighton?
Myself, to be honest, when I decided to write, it was more or less, and I didn't go for any particular style other than my own. So it was more or less a diary recording of each job, what we did during each job. And when I'd done that, I had it read back to me, and then we sort of put the meat on the bones of the story. Yeah. So each story is absolutely based on fact, and it was very clinically put together. But I understood, and other people around me understood early on, that it wouldn't make good reading for somebody else. So that was why we put it in story form. So really, whereas the authors that you've just named are fantastic, and one could only admire them. I would say that there was no particular influence. I just did it straight from the bat. The best way for me to approach it. And I think if I tried to mimic somebody else's style, it would have detracted from what I was trying to get across.
Absolutely.
Which was make it interesting for other investigators and make it interesting for the average guy on the street that knows nothing at all about what we do.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And do you know how much a copy of the book will be, the price of it?
Well, if Mike was selling them, it'd be about $1,000 a copy, you know, and it would come in a laminated gold case or whatever. But no, it's not. It hasn't been decided, but I think it would be somewhere between $25 to $30. I think it was discussed early on they were thinking that would be the price. It's I think it's around about 80 to 90,000 words, and it's about 25 chapters. So there's a fair bit in it.
Yeah.
And having said that, that was why we tried to make the chapters, each one different and kind of versatile. Whereas you could almost write a book, and I'm sure most of your surveillance people that are listening in, or factual people, could write a book on following people, you know, different stories, but it becomes kind of mundane. So I tried to break it up a bit, to give the reader a different idea of what we do at different times.
Yeah, fantastic. And did you hide any secrets in your book that only a few people will know or understand?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think we touched on this the last time, but I've changed the names on some of the stories to protect some of these people I talk about have passed away now, but to protect families that are still alive. There's some unsavory stuff in it, and you know, you don't want to throw mud long after the person's died, especially at the family. So yeah, we changed the names to protect some of the innocent parties that not necessarily were involved at the time, but through association could be affected by it. So it's the aim is not to make a sensational book and hurt people's feelings. It was just to get the stories out that really happened, but not hurt people. That's certainly not the plan.
Yeah, fantastic. And did you edit anything out of the book? Anything in particular that you wish was in?
Sorry, Casey?
Did you edit anything out of the book that you kind of wish that was in there, or?
No, vice versa. Everything was okay. There were a couple of little things that there were legal connotations that maybe shouldn't have been said. So only a line here, a line there. So that went out, but it was rephrased and re-entered so that we didn't lose the essence of the truth that we were trying to tell.
Okay, fantastic.
If that makes sense to you, it was just from a legal perspective. If you say it one way, it could cause problems. If you say it another way, it was safer. So it was simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lawyers have a good way of making sure you say the right thing while saying what you mean.
That's exactly what it's all about.
Yeah.
And luckily, we've got a lawyer in the family, so
Brilliant.
she was quite helpful. Although I think it cost me more than going to a company and hiring a lawyer. But never mind, it's done now, so it's all ready to go.
Awesome, fantastic.
Andy, it says a lot about a person when their past workmates come together to wish them well in their endeavours for the future. And we have a lovely message here from one of your business partners, and Casey will play it now.
Hi, Andy. I just want to say congratulations on the many successful years in the industry, which has obviously given you plenty of stories to tell. You always said you wanted to write a book, so I'm very glad that you're able to pen your experiences, which can now be shared with everyone. We worked together for over 20 years, in which we achieved some pretty amazing results, with some fairly interesting cases along the way. I'm now keen to read about all your earlier adventures. I'm very proud. Congratulations, Andy, and all the very best always. Take care.
Well, that was Tanya. That was lovely words, very kind. And it proves that although sometimes it pays to be nondescript in this industry when you're following people and whatnot, she was a beautiful woman who carried her job off perfectly, hardworking. And I even remember a time when she was heavily pregnant with her first child, and I sent her out to do surveillance, and it ended up with the target actually helping her up a flight of stairs. So just shows you what can be achieved in this industry.
That's one of Tanya's great stories that she tells our students in our classes in Melbourne.
So, I mean, look, she was an expert in personal protection and organising events from a security perspective. Some of the largest companies in Australia, their AGMs were run smoothly because of Tanya's efforts. She was a bodyguard and I'd say an assassin, but an assassin of character. So you had to be careful if you crossed swords with her, that was for sure.
My word. And thanks for that, Tanya. That was really great. And Andy, we have another former work colleague that's wishing you well as well. Casey, if you'd like to play that for us.
G'day Andy, congratulations on the book. Mate, I'm sure it's going to be a great read given the decades of experiences that you have in the investigations field. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I don't even have to read it given that we've spent so much time working together, probably over 25 years. But look, I'll buy a copy and I'll make sure everyone I know buys a copy too to support you. I'm not sure if it's going to make it in the book, but is it true that you actually met Alan Pinkerton? That'd be a pretty good story to hear about as well. Congratulations again, mate, and good luck.
Brilliant. Angelo Crismanic. Fantastic.
So you met Alan Pinkerton, Andy?
Yeah, we were drinking buddies many years ago.
At the end of the Civil War?
No, the start of the Civil War.
Oh, start of the Civil War.
In America. Well, yeah, that's Angelo's personal joke with me. Because I was a fair bit older than Angelo, he used to say, you must have known Alan Pinkerton, who died in 1874, I think. So, yeah, very funny. But we often used to say when we see a client as an introduction just to break the ice, yes, I used to work with Alan Pinkerton, but it used to backfire because some people actually believed it. And so really, because they didn't know when he lived. So it was, yeah, it was a bit iffy when we played that one. But yeah, Angelo's a good guy. Funny story about Angelo. When, as you know, his initials are AK, Angelo Crismanic. And when people are 21, usually celebrate their birthday and their 40th or their 50th, you know, those special dates. But when he turned 47, made a huge celebration because he became AK-47. we got him a model AK-47 and what, that was a big party in the office. But great guy, a true professional, and he's doing really well in the industry now, doing fabulously. So just a top bloke. Yeah. This is your life, mate.
I know.
Who's
and exactly like this is your life, because we found one of your old teachers, Andy.
Oh no!
Yes, my word. And
I thought all the old nuns had passed away by now.
No, we found one of your old teachers. You were in this class, and Casey is going to play your old teacher talking about you in class right now. I guess you're very nervous.
Yes.
Hi Andy, it's Pat Flynn. I believe you've got a book coming out. I'm absolutely thrilled that you've written a book because I can't wait to read what you've written about. Over the years, all the stories and the things that you've related to us are enormously interesting, so I'm looking forward to it. Congratulations, Andy. I hope you get good success with this. I can't wait to get a copy of it myself.
Beautiful. What a great guy. And it just shows you a true professional who adapted from actually being out in the field to becoming an excellent lecturer. Just a top bloke. And all the times I've met him, I've never seen him lose his temper or even have a furrowed brow. He's always good-natured and happy to help. And I suppose at the end of the day, that's what makes him the professional he is. He's a top chap.
You also have a lot of support from people within the industry, Andy, and here's a person that works in the Australian investigation industry that you know. Wishing you luck with your book.
Okay.
G'day Andy, Paul York from SureFact, mate. I hope you're well. You've written a book called Problem Solved, The Blind Investigator. Mate, that's awesome. Can't wait to read it. I know the rest of the SureFact team are pretty keen to read it as well, mate. So those years of experience that you've dedicated to the industry will be sensational to pass on. Thanks, mate. Looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Yorkie. Well, I've worked with Yorkie in the past, and he became one of my competitors, and it just shows that in this industry, you don't have to have competitors as enemies. You can work closely with them, and by working together, you can achieve some great results. For all the people out there that don't know Paul York, when he first came into our office, he's so large and moves so quickly that all the papers blew off the desks as he walked into the room. Huge guy. But then again, he's got great talents and an excellent communicator. And that's one of the skill sets you need for this industry, is to be able to convey the messages properly. Just a top bloke, and it makes me laugh thinking about some of the good times we've had together. After hours as well as during hours, just a top bloke. I'm sure he'll be very successful in his business.
Thank you, Andy. And we will be back next month to check on progress of Andy's book. What's it called again, please, Andy?
It's called Problem Solved: The True Stories of a Blind Private Eye.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Because I'm blind, so it makes sense.